Hey everyone, Eliana here. Today's topic is make marketing art again. I'll preface by saying that this is for you if you are someone who's doing marketing. So if you are a marketing professional or you're doing marketing for yourself in your own business. In my book, if you're doing marketing, you are a marketer. The most important thing I want to talk to you about today is a change of perspective about marketing and what marketing is supposed to be. I will start by saying that I believe that every one of us is born an artist and marketers are no different. So I want to ask you if there is any part of you that knows or even suspects that you are an artist, that you've always been an artist and you will always be, and that you've spent your whole life fighting this side of yourself. Because what drove me to make this video is that last week, I actually realized that after 3 years of starting this business, which is not my first business, by the way, if you're watching me for the first time, hello. But those of you who know my story, you know that I spent so much time building this marketing consulting business that was successful, but I was not feeling aligned with it. And so I went on a journey of rediscovering what the heck I want to do with my life. But one thing that was a constant was knowing that I'm an artist. I've known this ever since I was a kid. I can't remember the time that I just realized I'm this. This is what I am. This is who I am. And I was just convinced I was going to study something to do with arts, do it for a living. I don't know what medium, but it was going to be something in the arts. And graduated high school and I had no clarity what exactly I wanted to do. I painted a little bit, I drew a little bit, I sang, I danced. There wasn't one medium that I was going to go all out on. And actually, I remember sitting with my parents and my aunt and a couple of other people, and we were chatting about it. And I was like, oh, I might want to major in sculpture. And they're like, what are you going to do with that? Like, how are you going to make money with that? And I was like, I don't know. I don't know like what to pick. I just know that this is who I am and this is how I am. And so I chose marketing as what I thought was going to be like a reasonable, happy medium between business, quote unquote, reasonable, and then the arts, right? You can be creative, but you can also do something that's still, that is still clear how you're going to pay the bills with. Fun fact, my aunt predicted that I was going to become a marketer ever since I was a kid. But anyway, point is, I graduate. In the meantime, I was dabbling, with buying and selling stuff online, trying to make some money and things like that. And I finished studying marketing. And when I graduated in 2008. So at first there was a disappointment of the recession. And then there was another disappointment that after working my butt off to get to a point where I could finally get my foot in the door for marketing, it was nothing like what I envisioned. It was nothing like what I imagined. I imagined that marketing was going to be this avenue for self-expression, this place where I could share my thoughts and actually change people's minds. I envisioned I was going to be working with these purpose-driven brands that were doing things for a reason, for a purpose other than selling a freaking spoon, working for companies that actually cared about me and about the consumer. The artist in you will never leave. Like, this is the thing that I want you to understand, is like the artist in you will never go away. And so I was really disappointed and I kept hopping jobs, trying different things. Nothing worked out. And then I was like, you know what? I can't be in jobs where people tell me how to do my work. I have to become self-employed so I can have the freedom to live life on my terms, first of all, of course, increase my income, but especially have the freedom to just be myself and do what I love, because that was and still is incredibly important to me. I remember when I quit my last office job, which last week I made a video about this. It's been 10 years since I walked into an office. And so I was like, oh, okay, let me make a video about this. As I was watching it, I remember actually having a conversation with my mother, who was very concerned about how I was just quitting everything. And in my mid-20s, I'm like, I'm quitting this fucking career, life, everything, and I'm just gonna go to India and figure out what I want. I remember crying to my mother, and I don't cry, especially not in front of my mother. I do not cry in front of people, not easily. And I just remember sobbing and being like, Mom, I'm an artist. Like, I'm trying to explain to her because she couldn't understand. She's like, you're gonna mess up your life. What are you doing? And I'm like, you don't understand. I picked the wrong major. This is not who I am. This is not what I am. I'm an artist. I'm not this. I'm not this. I'm something different. I don't belong here. I belong elsewhere, So I went out there and I started getting my own clients, making my own money, working my way up my own ladder, if you will. And in the meantime, because I just never figured out, like, what artistic thing can I do that I can make money off of? Let's be real. Like, I don't have one thing that I am just excellent at. There's nothing that I am a master of in the traditional arts. And, I don't mind spending all my time, my life, devoting my life to learning it. But in the meantime, I kind of need to, something that I can make money with immediately. And so, kept defaulting to business, whether it's marketing in other people's businesses or marketing my own business and just business in general, right? Entrepreneurship and stuff. And don't get me wrong, like I love it. I love business. But always something was always missing from the equation. And when I, after I worked my butt off to build my last business, my marketing consulting business, and I got it finally to a point where I was making the kind of money I wanted to make, and I actually, I achieved the milestones that I had in mind, but I wasn't happy and I felt empty. And that's when I decided to break everything off. And I was like, well, you know what? I'm willing to actually make a change of career completely, even if it means starting all over. I'm willing to do this. And so I went trying to rediscover what exactly do I want to do. And to cut a long story short, last week, I realized that it has always been one story. It has always been one path. This has never changed. It's always been the path that I am an artist who had to go down the opposite route to think that that's what I needed to be in order to be accepted, to achieving that, and then realizing that I can't take that part out of myself. I will never be anything other than that. I mean, I could be all the other things. Obviously, we all can, but that's the one constant. That's the thing I was born with that I will die with. What I realized more than anything is I actually don't even need to be in a quote unquote artistic industries. You can make art out of anything that you do in life. It's not even what you do. It's not your behaviors. It's not your mediums of self-expression. It's your self-expression itself. I want to talk to the person that I was many years ago, and even recently, but especially many years ago, when I felt that I made a mistake, when I thought, my God, what have I done? Like I picked something that is not mine. I'm so out of alignment with this, but I'm stuck with it because I need to make money. I want you to know that you're not in the wrong career. You haven't made the wrong choice, because you really can bring your artistry to everything that you do. The falsehood that we have is that you can't be both an artist and a business person. You can't monetize your art without taking away the authenticity of what you do. And that's not true. Thinking about what I do as a marketer, I thought, you know what? There are plenty of people who are expressing in all the traditional artistic ways. But what about marketing? Because I actually love marketing. It wasn't like I settled on it. It was more of, this is what made sense, and it still makes sense. I feel like if I had chosen anything else, like let's say sculpture, or I don't know, painting, drawing, whatever, music, and went down that route to make money, knowing all the wounds and traumas that I had to deal with over the past God knows how many years, I probably would have been very unhappy. I probably would have hated my work because I wasn't in a place to do it for me, for my authentic self-expression, which is what I'm doing right now. I didn't know all these things. So I think it would have ruined that for me. I'm very happy that I have my sketchbooks and I sketch in the comfort of my home, and it's not about pleasing an audience. And so I want to take a step back and define what is an artist, because an artist is not, like I said, it's not what you do. An artist is somebody who expresses authentically, somebody who expresses their creativity, their imagination, who shares their truth, their emotions, their raw emotions through various mediums with other people. So you can make art out of washing dishes if you wanted to. It's not what you do. Specific ways that you can be an artist as a marketer, because I've really gotten to a point where not only do I believe that marketing is an art, but I no longer want to work with anybody or speak to anybody or engage with anybody or have anybody in my world who is not willing to love marketing. Marketing is not something that you do just to get to an end. Like it's not a means to an end. It's not something you like, I'm just going to tolerate it or figure out the bare minimum so that I can do blah, blah, blah. Marketing is communicating who you are. I've said this before and I'll say it again. Branding is who you are. Marketing is how you communicate it. And so first of all, you need to have that full self-expression, sharing who you really are at your core, and then communicating that. That's how marketing is. Marketing is communicating that truth, is expressing that truth. And so it's not an either or formula. Like you've got to really fall in love with the idea of sharing your truth, your message. Otherwise, what are you doing working with me, in a brand of full self-expression? And like, thankfully, I've never actually had any client who was out of alignment in this business. So even my audience, people are surprised that I never have any negative messages or anything like that. So I feel very lucky in that way. And I don't know, I'm not conscious exactly of what I'm doing that's doing this, but I must be doing something right. But I still sometimes, every once in a while, come across people who will like add me on LinkedIn or kind of follow me or subscribe to my newsletter, and they haven't really been that long in my world, and they come in expecting something, and then they realize, oh, it's not what I expected. I don't do marketing the way most people do marketing. And that's not because I'm a snowflake, even though yes, I am a snowflake, but it's not because I'm a snowflake. It's because I just don't. I just do it my way. And that's the very first thing you need to know as an artist, is that whether you like it or not, you're going to develop your own unique style of doing things, your signature. I made a video about this even 2 years ago, I think, when I first started making videos. It's called Signs You Are a Business Artist. And the first sign is that you can't help but develop your own signature style of doing things. You can't, and this is why it's so hard for artists, for marketers who turn or artists who turn marketers who turn artists, same shit. Very hard for marketers who are aware, at least at some level, of their nature as artists, for them to work in a business that is out of alignment, for them to work with clients that are out of alignment, for them to do work that is not authentic to them, to do things that are not aligned with their values, to do things where they can't express their authentic selves. Same for anyone in a creative field who have to change who they are for business, which is like, it shouldn't be that way. But we have this stupid fucking system where, any creative goes through this, because they have to make you into a mold of some sort. If you're a copywriter, designer, whatever you are, and you come in with your art, with your work, with your creative expression, and they beat that out of you, and they convince you that you can't have that, or shouldn't do that, or wouldn't do that. And it's all about what the client wants, and it's all about what the boss wants, what the CEO wants, the vision. That's true, but that means that's not your client, and it's not your job, and it's not your business. You shouldn't work with those people. Like, you got to work with people who are aligned with you, people who understand your vision, people who understand your values. Sure, they can do their marketing any way they want to, but you have to be in some sort of alignment. Otherwise, you're going to be sick. You will be literally physically sick if you force yourself to be anything other than that. And so I have some notes here for specific ways that you can bring artistry into your marketing. So we talked about unique style, right? That unique signature of yours. There's also emotional impact of any type. So you don't have to go very far, but like, when you make a video, if you can connect emotionally with the audience, you are creating art. If you are connecting authentically, not manipulating, but sharing something that is true to you, that is connecting with the other person, that is a form of art. That's exactly what an artist's role is to plant a seed in the collective consciousness, is to raise awareness, is to connect with people, is to move people, and it's to help them relate to their own humanity. And so an emotional impact, that means the way that you put together the piece of content. Maybe you add some music to it, maybe it's photography, maybe it's some elements there that make the person feel what you're feeling, instead of telling them facts, instead of just the linear conversation. You are speaking from the heart. Hi Nikolai, I just saw your message. Good to see you. The other thing is storytelling. Storytelling is something I resisted for the longest time. And if I go back to my oldest videos, I noticed that I was just avoiding it, because I thought, well, my job here is to show up and share information and share guidance, and this is what people want. But yeah, I can't help but share my stories, because what I'm sharing with you is not stuff that I've learned in some book or through some coach or some teacher or whatever. A lot of it, I've of course learned from different sources, but I applied it in my own life. I went through it, and my story is the teaching. Like, the experience itself is the teaching, and I'm sharing it in a way, for me, for my own self-expression. But I know it is landing better for other people, because people are getting it a lot better when I tell the story. So storytelling is another way that you can bring art into your marketing. Another one is your speaking style. So some people like to use a little bit more poetry. Some people use analogies. Some people have made up their own words, or made up their own ways of saying certain things. Whatever it may be, like, you've got to find what works for you. This is not about you have to use all of these. It's more of like, figure out what is it that you lean more on. Some of these are easier for you than others. Another one is taking a new approach, an innovative approach to any way that you do your marketing. So experimenting with new formats, kind of mixing things together, even using technology in a certain way. Any time that you deviate from the way other people are telling you to do it, and you're figuring out what works for you, that's exactly what it is. That's what art is. It's part of it is like, it's consciousness having fun, playing around, figure out different ways to convey a message. Another one is craftsmanship and skill. Now this one is interesting. I can use a story to drive this point home. So I remember when I was a kid, my parents hired a carpenter. I don't know if they call him joiner or something. I don't know. The people who specialize in making doors and specific types of furniture, wooden furniture. And this guy was just so good at it. Apparently he's been doing it for so long and making the same doors over and over and over. And at some point he starts experimenting with things. He starts experimenting with where and how he's carving it out and doing like little things. And I'm just looking at it and I'm like, it's very interesting. Like once a person does the thing over and over and gets really good at it, they start to become playful with it. You see lots of these videos of people in these markets where they're like flipping some street food, right? They're flipping it there. They get really fast and then they start getting playful with it. It's just what we do. It's just what intelligence, what creativity does. That's the creative energy, just having fun. So the skill itself, the craftsmanship itself, the care, the love that you give to the thing that you create is an art in and of itself. And then the playfulness you add on top is your own unique flavor. Basically, any genuine or authentic expression that connects with the audience in my book, anything that moves them emotionally, that creates like deep insights in my book is a form of art. And so the biggest thing is you've got to really own that about yourself. You have to stop thinking that being an artist is something that you do, right? That like it's what you do that makes you that. It's more of who you're being all day, every day. It's not something that you turn on and off. Your creativity is not something that you turn on and off. You are a creator. And I don't mean just content creator. I mean, you are a creator. That's what you are. And so you see stuff like that. That means, like I said earlier, no matter what you do, you are an artist. You can't take that out of yourself. And so it doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter what you choose to do for a living. As long as it enables you to be yourself and do what you love, as long as it enables you to express yourself fully and freely with people who get your vision, who understand your vision, and you're making a good living out of it, you'll be happy with that. My take from, I don't even know how many years of experience at this point, more than a couple of decades, when I think about it all in all. So you want to surround yourself with people who are like-minded, people who not necessarily see everything exactly the way that you see it, but they get you, they understand you. It's like, what an artist does is they have a certain way of noticing what belongs and what doesn't belong. Like you look at a picture, you look at something, and you notice if anything is out of alignment, doesn't belong there, harmony or lack of harmony, and you take out the things that don't belong. Now, obviously, this is still subjective, but it also takes a certain level of sensitivity about whether or not something belongs or doesn't belong. And so it is a matter of tuning into the wavelength of, does this belong in this picture? Yes or no? Does this belong in this scene? Yes or no? And if it doesn't, you take it out. And maybe sometimes you think of something that you can add that can enhance the thing. And so that's what you got to do. You're so sensitive to your surroundings that you have to surround yourself with people who understand your vision, because you can't create chaos. You can't create too much chaos and too much disruption in your surroundings. So when you work with people who get your vision, who understand your vision, who understand your values, even if they have a different perspective, a different opinion, it's still on the same wavelength. So there isn't like this disharmony, right, in your relationships with them. And that goes for your clients, that goes for if you have employees, your employees, that goes for people in your personal life. It goes for everyone, honestly, but especially if you are somebody who is aware of your nature as an artist. The biggest thing that is going to take for you to bring your art to your marketing and to everything that you create is to have the courage to allow yourself to own who you are, to own your perspective, to believe in it, and to follow it, despite fear of judgment, despite fear of doubts, questioning yourself, without constantly needing an external reassurance of some sort. This is obviously easier if you're working with people who are aligned with you, if you get clients who are in alignment, if you work with people who understand you, it's easier to do this. But you've got to build that belief in your vision and understand what is it that matters to you and why. Because when you understand, then you can own it. an example is this. Like when I quit that last office job and became a marketing consultant, even though I was crying to my mother and saying, I'm an artist, mom, I'm an artist, please understand, like, this is not the right path for me. I still hadn't owned that about myself. And so the way I was running the business, the mindset was, let me get this business to this level. And once I have this kind of level, then I can be free to do whatever the heck I want. And it didn't work that way, because I mentioned this before and I'll say it again, freedom can only come from within. So the biggest thing I want you to take away from this is that you've always been an artist. You'll never stop being an artist. It's not what you do, it's who you are. Doesn't matter what is it that you choose as your medium of expression. Expression can include expression in the traditional forms, as in like speaking, writing, maybe you're using your body, your hands to draw, to create something. But it's also an expression of values in what you do. So you could even be an accountant and express yourself in your accounting. Do you understand what I mean? So it's your full self-expression. It's your full self-expression. You have to own it. You have to love it, and you have to see it for what it is. That it is there for a reason. Even if other people don't get it, that's okay. That's fine. I think I've really covered most of what I wanted to say. There's so much more I could be talking about on this topic, but I wanted to make this video to share it. It's really from the heart, because I remember a time when I felt really lost and confused. I just knew that the way I was doing life in general and business in general just wasn't for me, and I didn't get what was wrong, and I didn't know how to transition out of that into something else. I tried to think, like, what mediums should I pick? What do I do? And I just couldn't come to a conclusion. And frankly, I have way too many passions and interests. This I want to commit to for the rest of my life. But there wasn't like one medium of expression that I wanted to commit to. I want to express myself in any way, shape, or form that I can at any time. So that's my style. I hope this is helpful to anyone who is where I was at that time. Hope it gives you some clarity, and to know that you're not on the wrong path. There are no mistakes in the universe. Any choice that you make, you can make it the right choice. Just make the choice and then make it the right choice. Hope this was helpful. By the way, I'm doing a workshop on June 29th at 11 a.m. Central. I'll put a link wherever you're watching this so that you can join me. The next one is going to be about creating an offer that sells around something that you love. So monetizing what you love. Of course, everything that I do is with the essence of a full self-expression. And there's going to be more workshops in the future about different topics. Put your email in the link and I will make sure to invite you to the next ones. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.